Well, hello. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Yes, right? Whatever suffers is not part of me. That is lesson 248 from the workbook for students that we'll cover here in this video today. Whatever suffers is not part of me. Feel welcome to say that either out loud or internally to yourself, maybe both, as often as you think about it today. And may that be often, very often. Yeah, whatever suffers is not part of me. This is a powerful lesson here in the workbook for students, as it reaffirms the literal truth of truth. I mean, only truth is true. Yeah. It's really simple, isn't it? I mean, it is disarmingly simple. Spirituality can, of course, be seen as an elaborate process. And there are many gorgeous, beautiful, elaborate rituals and processes in the world. Think about a Buddhist sadhana or a complicated mandala. Yeah, multifaceted, right? Beautiful, yes. And there are, many complicated shamanic ceremonies, ayahuasca ceremonies, for example, that there are many paintings that are done when the artist is inspired, being spoken to directly, spoken through by the Holy Spirit. There are many facets, apparently, to all of this, but really it's singular. There is oneness, and it all converges on the simple truth that nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God, the summary of A Course in Miracles, which we'll talk about in the context of lesson 248. And a simple, even more simple statement, God is. Another real simple two-word statement, two syllables even, I am. Yeah. We begin to see the more we allow ourselves, which is the work, right? And I hope that you can laugh about that sometimes. The more we allow ourselves to see it, the more we realize, wow, this really actually is very simple. And we are the ones that have created, we've manufactured, we've invented all of our complications and every single distraction so that we don't think about it. Either we don't think about it or we're actively thinking about it and we're denying it and we're doing anything, and I mean anything, to distract ourselves from truth, from the truth of who we are. Yeah. I am, right? So within this context of simplicity, naturally, lesson 248 is going to ring true, isn't it? Whatever suffers is not a part of me. First couple sentences. I'll paraphrase. We've denied reality. Here we are, one with God, Son of God. Same as, yes, one with. Ego wants to think that we created everything. We were created. The Son of God is the extension of God, one with. So when the Course talks about Father and fatherhood, the reference is to our creation by God, right? Love can only extend itself, totally itself. We are one with God. And the simple statement, God is, implies, of course, that nothing else is. And nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Yeah. That's implicit in that statement. Nothing unreal exists. So God is, nothing else is. So we've disowned the truth in thinking that we're limited, in believing that we're a body, that everyone else is a body, that we're these things called human beings. Even that's a label, isn't it, right? We see and we know deep down from spiritual practice that we are spirit. We are love. And it's very interesting here in the commentary on lesson 248. It's an interesting and sobering reminder to ourselves that, yes, we've denied the truth and we've been really hyper vigilant about that and very faithful to our denial of truth, to our refusal to look within, to our refusal to look at who we really are. And we have been blindly faithful to the death many times over, literally, to this notion of a limited self, little s, body, ego, separate. Yeah. We've been extremely faithful to falsity. Time to choose again. We can be just as faithful, should we choose to do it, to truth, to reality, to who we are and who everyone else is. Of course, uses the term your brother, it's fellow human beings. You know? You can actually extend that to everything that lives. Brother, sister, yeah. Everything that appears outside. The statement, nothing unreal exists, from the summary of A Course in Miracles, makes lesson 248 true. Whatever suffers is not part of you. The ego is not part of you. That's what suffers. It is fear itself. The reason that the ego is always afraid is because it is fear. So naturally, fear is afraid. Yeah. Just as naturally, love is always loving. That's what it is. It cannot be anything else. And as the Course so succinctly and beautifully puts it to us, all expressions of love are maximal. They're all full on, full bore. It's up to us to allow that in our lives. It's up to us to extend it through our practice of forgiveness. We can make a choice. This is a beautiful lesson, and it's one of the most beautiful messages of A Course in Miracles, and indeed of any spiritual path. You have the ability in the present moment to choose, and it is not passive. It is the most active and immediate thing that you could ever do, is to choose love, to choose your light, to choose God instead of the ego, yeah? To choose the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. To allow yourself to see things as the Holy Spirit sees them and have all of your unconscious guilt removed, corrected. It's a powerful choice. It's the most powerful choice anyone alive could ever make, ever. And the most consequential truly, the most far-reaching, definitely. So I hope that you make that choice today. And as we discover in life, we can make it 1 minute and then, well, shit hits the fan, right? All of the crap that we've made for ourselves comes back at us like mountains of debt. Yeah. Like credit card bills, like a disagreement that we may have with our partner or with someone else, right? Comes up. Yeah. Comes up. And our job, our task, if you'd rather view it that way, you can, is to remind ourselves in the present moment to choose love, to forgive. When the instant we notice that we're carried away, which might take a while, and if it takes a while, no problem, right? Nobody's saying that you have to be on top of all of this all the time. However, life is very different when you are on top of it, as I know you know from your own experience. So let your own experience be the guide here. How do you feel when you get carried away in the drama versus how do you feel when you recognize that you're carried away in the drama and then apply the remedy, forgiveness, allowing your teacher, the Holy Spirit, if you've adopted the Holy Spirit as your teacher, Jesus, if you've adopted Jesus as your teacher, or it could be an angel or archangel or a collection of those, right? It could be anything, anyone, Buddha, right? God himself, whoever you have taken as your guide or guides or teachers, allow them to interpret for you. When you notice that you're carried off, how do you notice that? How do you feel? Feelings that we would label negative, such as guilt, fear, yes, frustration, chronic gnawing pain, going OCD on the slightest perceived injustice, for example, all of that, those are in fact gifts if we choose to see it that way. It might be painful in the moment, but once we recognize that it's our mind that's suffering, we can apply the remedy, the healing miracle of forgiveness. Because that's really what it is, guys. It's a healing miracle that you can perform. So you are a miracle worker. And I want you to believe that you are that, because you are. I know it. How do I know it? Because we are one. If I am, so are you. If you are, so am I. Simple. All right, guys. So I really invite you to have fun practicing this. And again, whenever you recognize that you're carried away, simply bring yourself back. Life is, in effect, a living, breathing, waking meditation. Take the idea for the day as the focus of meditation. It can be your sound that you pay attention to. It can be the breath, right? It's analogous to the object of meditation in a formal sitting meditation. I mean, this is all of life, and it's all, the work is all about noticing awareness when we're carried away, when we're in the dark, when we've chosen fear, when we've chosen the ego and separation and suffering, noticing that, bringing that suffering, the darkness to the light, where the light simply shines it away. This is the practice of forgiveness. It's the practice of awareness and forgiveness. This is the essence of it. It is simple. It's what we do. So may you remember this and recall this as often as you can and get into the habit of it, because the more you do, the more life seems to actually speed up for you, even though you may appear to be sitting still. You may have noticed that you deal with things more quickly rather than letting them fester. You may have noticed that. All right, guys. Thank you, as always, for joining me, and I'll see you right here on the next video.